So I met my word goal today, which was great. And it's also still freezing, which, I mean, is good from an ecological perspective, but for my own personal comfort, isn't that great. So today I wanted to talk about writing scenes with multiple characters in them. So a while ago, I saw a documentary about Jim Henson, the guy who did the Muppets and Sesame Street, Kermit the Frog, Big Bird, all those guys. And one of the things that he talked about / was interviewed talked about was how to write comedy. And one of the things that Jim Henson would always do in his scenes is he would say, you can never write a character in a vacuum because characters always need to interact in order to make good comedy, because the comedy comes from how they interact with each other. And you can apply that to multiple other scenes. Like, don't have another character in a scene unless they have a purpose to be in that scene, even if it's as a background character. Because when you're writing characters interacting, well, that's their whole purpose for being or something. Anyway, so that's relevant to what I was writing today, because I was writing a scene where I have like this posse of guys that one of my characters like has made friends with, and they're all like giving him horrible advice about like flirting with a girl. It's like really purposefully horrible advice, and I find it very funny. And I was kind of having trouble writing all of their dialogue to make sense, because theoretically I could write the entire scene just happening between two people, but I wanted to involve all of them. And since they were sitting in a classroom having the scene, I was having to have them, lean over someone and, turn around and like twist in their seats to try and, talk to each other. And I kind of could insert some really interesting situational comedy into that, which was fun. Because you can't write a character in a vacuum, because even Hamlet, when he was on his stage talking, he was talking to himself. He was talking to, to be or not to be, that is the question. 'Tis nobler to something, something, something. He was talking to his own self-doubt, his own grief. And then going back to Jim Henson, there's this great scene where Fozzie Bear is alone on the camera, but he's interacting with like a phone, and it's a phone gag, so like it rings and something different happens every time he picks it up. Well, the phone is a character in that. So when you're writing a character by themselves, what are they interacting with? Because what they're interacting with, that'll be the other character. So when you're writing multiple characters, you have to have them all interact, otherwise there's no point for them being there. And that can be really hard because you have to individualize their voices, you have to say names a lot, and you have to, well, I have to anyway, I have to go back and reread the scene to make sure it's clear who's talking, when it's relevant who's talking. Sometimes dialogue can come from anyone, and I don't know, it gets confusing. So writing scenes with multiple characters, you gotta go back and edit those a lot.